razor size.
Yeah.
And then as well too, I've been looking at large gas tanks because I'm sitting there thinking like, wait, can I buy gas? Am I allowed to buy gas? Because I'll put a fucking gas tank on my property, and if I can't do it here, I will start looking for a property where I can do it, and I'll buy gas at bulk prices because there has to
If
be
you,
a discount. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
it
Well, you
as long.
gotta look. See, then you got to look at the costs of setting something like that up too. Whether you want it above ground or below ground, it might be some more secure if you had your own pump or something than opposed to having it out and telling everybody, "Hey, look over here! I got this big thing. If I can get."
I ain't tell nobody, man. You know what I mean?
But I'm
I'm
just,
gonna put that shit behind a barbed wire fence that's electrified. Fuck around,
hey,
you're gonna get shocked.
be surprised what fucking people find out sometimes.
Oh yeah,
But
100%. Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
I mean, you could always have that installed with your own pump on there or some shit. I mean, the farmers do it, people do it. So I mean, it's not
That's
out of the
exact. Like
possibility.
the ones I was looking at were like 50-gallon um, forklift tanks. You know, they have them on farms all the time, and I could afford, or sorry, 500-gallon. And buying, I mean, yeah, it'd be a heavy upfront price, but at the price of gas, even if I'm saving, the only shitty part is, you definitely want to look at the trends of the previous years and understand when it dips traditionally, and then buy it at
Yeah,
that point. But then you also got
yeah,
to make sure that you can, because gas can only last 6 months, and
you're
so
right. The initial cost of installing and getting that ready obviously is going to be expensive, of
yeah.
course.
But I think it would pay off itself. But I think that's going to be the way to survive in this type of environment. You know what I mean? You have to start looking at things like, hey, what can I get true discounts on that I'm going to consume, that I use on a daily basis, that are a necessity? And one of those is gasoline. I don't know anybody in this country that can live off no gasoline besides people that live in the city, which are still living off gasoline. They're just paying for it in a
Right.
different way.
The
You
one
know what
thing
I
I
mean?
wish I was able to do for the house here is I wish I was in a position where, um, not only that, but I think in this country as a whole, not only do you obviously need to keep producing gas, but I mean, people talk about all solar electrical cars; those are all fine, but those are not what you call like completely reliable sources. Like you can get some solar panels for your house and shit like, and that could help. Like when the shit goes down, you electricity longer. Don't get me wrong. There's certain advantages and it does help, but it's unfortunately not sustainable long term. You got to have batteries to store that shit in. You know what I mean? So it still helps to be hooked up to the main grid just in case that goes down for whatever reason. You could even have uh, your own little fucking fans or whatever to help generate electricity a little bit, but that's only going to turn if it's on a windy day, so that's limited on its ability.
Yeah.
I mean, if I could, I would rather have all three power sources because if one goes down over the other, you know what I mean. You still be able to do something.
The problem with windmills, though, is even the like the large ones, they have to rebuild
Yeah.
those motors every year, and
Oh
so
yeah, yeah, yeah,
those things have been a bigger nuisance than they are help. In all
yeah. I don't.
reality,
Yeah, I don't think that those. I mean, on paper, in theory, it sounds like a good idea, but then when you look at the shit that goes into it, and those consume oil too to a certain degree. Like you said, put motors in them, depending on what kind of motors those are, and then manufacture them. I don't know what material they're made out of,
oh,
but
100% oil is being used to make those things.
so when you look at it, have those things in order to keep making shit. So you never. So if you're gonna live in a modern world as we know it,
That's gonna be
unless you want to go
tough.
back to the hundreds, then your main source of material would probably be wood in some form of steel. But all that shit, you want plastics and synthetics and all other kinds of other shit,
You want laundry detergent?
you're gonna need oil.
Yeah.
You,
Everyone thinks, oh, let's get away from gas. Let's get away from this, dude. Everything around you has been used has used oil in some way or form, whether it's to be manufactured, it's the parts that's turning the machine, it's the parts that's keeping the machine oiled. Like, you know what I mean? It's we unfortunately have grown our society around oil, and it's like you said, it's all we know in modern time. Um, I
It's
mean,
good to have and to try and develop, multiple sources. It's good to do that. It's good to have alternatives. But at this particular point in time, unless somebody revolutionizes some shit on a mass scale, um, right now that's the most reliable source of energy when you think about it.
there's a reason
That
we're still mining. I don't know exactly what it is, but there's a reason that we still mine for stuff. Obviously we
less
need it for our electronics and stuff like that, but there's a
battery.
reason.
They want to have battery cars. Well, for those minerals, those materials, you got to mine.
Yeah. But there's
You
I
have
think there's we were mining to find gold, and then we realized the abilities of it. I don't think we've even completely understood the abilities of gold in all essence. I think there's more to it. Um, and then as well, there's there's a reason that we have such an intrinsic desire to want to mine and to figure out what else we can use that's in our earth, because our earth is a plentiful place. You know what I mean? And I think we need to stop looking at how we can use and abuse it, and start looking at how we need to live more harmonious with it. And I don't mean like, oh, hey, let's go fucking hug some trees. No, I think we need to find out how to harness the energy of the planet, of the ball we're sitting on. You know what I mean? This thing has geothermic energy. Like, look at Iceland. Iceland managed to take itself from like what, 30 to 70 to almost 95% of its energy is ran off of steam energy from geothermal pipes drilled into the ground deeply.
they're lucky enough to live on a fucking volcano, but
But yeah,
at the
but
same,
still, if you dig down deep enough, you can hit that. Yeah, maybe a lot deeper, and yeah, we may need to design some shit. But why aren't we doing that? Like that, right? The planet we're on, we have an electromagnetic field around it. How do we harness that? That's energy just blowing through our all around us. There's waves. Like, that's what I meant by when you take hallucinogens. How you're seeing things that our photons can't normally pick up. When you see like the
yeah,
waves and shit, I think
yeah,
those are true waves. Those are different particles of things moving around, but I think it's something you're actually seeing because your photon receptors are becoming enhanced at that point.
right.
And I just sound like a stupid drug addict when I say that shit, but it's where my head went. It's where my head goes. You know what I mean? And um, I think the reason that we're in this reality is because it's meant to be experiences. It's meant to be what God wanted us to have. And so going outside of that is, it's almost like, it makes me think if that was that the forbidden fruit. You know what I mean? Like, was that
Yeah,
because think about like I don't know if you ever taken mushrooms, but like your whole
no,
perspective changes completely. Like you don't. But the weird thing is, like, and it's almost like you do see a more definite line between good and evil. Like you see it you see everything you've done wrong while you're in a hallucinogenic psilocybin trip. You see it. It rips away your ego to where you can't protect yourself from it. And like that's why it's such a course correcting thing. But is that the knowledge of good and evil then? You know what I mean? And so like that sometimes rings with me. But you know, Tesla figured out a way to harness the power, and there's been people who have done his experiments on smaller scales and been successful with it. And so the guy definitely was a beyond his time person. You know what I mean? He think about it. There's technologies that we still run off of his patent that he released that would have made him the richest man in the world, but he released it because he knew the people needed it. That right there is something nobody has done since. Nobody in this world has ever released something like that willingly, knowing what its capabilities are, knowing what it would be, and he damn well knew what it would be, and still did it for the benefit of mankind. There's not been a person since. And he is one of the least known people in history for the past 200, for the past, since he was discredited as a psycho by J.P. Morgan and Thomas Edison, or
yeah,
yeah, Thomas Edison, yeah. And it's the saddest thing because this dude had an understanding that was way beyond what we still understand today, I think. And I think
right.
if we truly look at the magnetic field of the planet, how to harness it, and start asking bigger questions like, hey, why are all these big ass monuments built on where these points intersect? There's something there. Let's figure
Yeah,
it out, and let's figure out how to do what they did. Because if they were able to mine stone cheaper than we can right now, then we're obviously behind them. You know what I mean? If they could build
Yeah.
things that we can't build now, we are obviously behind them. That doesn't make sense. There's cutouts all over our planet that look, oh, these are straight edge lines made by nature. Nature don't work in straight edges, sweetheart. Everyone knows that. like, look at all of nature. Show me a straight line. You know what I mean? Like, you don't see it. And when you see cutouts that are size of the Empire State Building in weight, at least, maybe not height, but weight, and then if you were like to break it down and fit it into a cube, it would probably be around the same size. And they were cutting those out, and it's a perfect cutout, and then you see the thing sitting a little bit away from it. How were they doing it? They weren't doing that with copper. They weren't doing that with anything known today. So we need to get to that point. And
I think some people know what it is. I think there's people in certain places that probably know certain things, but they
hide
just
it.
keep it.
Yeah, to keep.
Well,
I mean, it's easier to maintain society in a way with chargeable energy. You know what I mean? We all work.
Yeah.
We all work for
because
electricity. That's really what it is.
make it a business. You so-called create jobs. People got to do this, and
create
you keep
inequalities too. You know what I mean? You create inequality by making it cost a monetary amount, which is needed to be worked for, and you pretty much create indentured servitude.
And that's the way you control. You kind of keep a leash on everything.
100%, because if you don't work, you can't keep your lights on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And without lights, what are we besides an animal at that point? You know, we have the walls and everything, and what people don't realize is, our resources are finite. They're not infinite, and so that's why socialism never works. Socialism never works because not everybody can have the same. It's just not. You don't see it in nature. People can be treated equally. Yes, we all deserve that, but to all have the same financial, not aptitude, but the same financial level for no reason, that makes no sense at all anywhere. Show me where it's ever worked. Show me one nation that's done it. Show me one animal kingdom. Not animal kingdom. Sorry. Show me any like ecosystem where that works. Where they're like, hey, we're gonna share this thing with with coyotes and wolves made a deal where they see the differences in each other and they're gonna share this piece of meat. No, they're gonna get mauled.
Yeah, because even in socialism, you got employees from the state that are doing stuff to keep things running,
which are treated better
while they're working and keeping the shit going. Everybody else don't have to work because they're getting a check from the government and everybody's getting an equal amount. While the few that are actually working are providing for somebody else.
Well, and then the people in the government are usually treated better. That's the point of power you want to get to. And those people then don't give that up, because why would you want to go from eating steak to eating corn dogs? You know what I mean? And that's what would happen, because once they left office, they would then be treated just as the population is, that equal level of person. And then the person, you ever heard of the Stanford experiment?
No.
In the Stanford experiment, what they did is they took, like, I think I'm just going to give it a well-rounded number at 20. And they took these 20 stand-up individuals. Everyone thought of them as good people. They were not narcissists. They didn't have narcissistic patterns. They literally, they were people who everyone would have thought of as stand-up. By the end of day one, sorry, let me explain. Let me back up. 10 of them were put as guards. 10 of them were put as prison inmates. Power, no power. Socialistic idea. Person in government is going to have the power. People are then going to have no power. You are at the will of the government because they are the ones giving you your food. They're the ones giving you your money to consume. They're the ones essentially putting the shirts on your back. By the end of day one, those 10 stand-up individuals, 9 of them were abusing their power. It just shows you how quickly a good individual can naturally take advantage of a situation without even sometimes being consciously aware of it at first. And then by the time they're consciously aware of it, how do you backstep some of that stuff? How do you backstep taking away food from a child? How do you backstep that to that parent? Oh, I'm sorry, I starved your kid to death. Yeah. See how that conversation ends. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm sorry, I took away your house. Here's your house back. Oh, I'm sorry, I took away your business. What fed your family? You know what I mean? Like, socialism doesn't work. You can't take away things from people and then think they're going to be okay with it. You know what I mean? No one's ever
Yeah.
going to live okay like that. You're creating a different type of inequality at that point. You're creating inequality because you're taking away something someone earned. So that someone put their self. And yeah, you can say, oh, well, what about generational wealth? It's the same thing. I don't come from generational wealth. You don't come from generational wealth. It it's not something we grasp for. I don't think we grasp for either. It's not. It's there's it's
But that's natural too, because let's say, you built something, a successful company,
yeah,
and obviously you're not going to take it with you when you go.
yeah,
So either you choose to sell it off or you give it to your kids. Either way, you're going to pass that on.
that was earned.
Now,
Yeah,
what do they do with it after that? Who gives a shit? You're gone, and they're going to piss away. They're going to piss it away regardless.
yeah,
But
but the socialists want those kids to be then stripped of that and it to be distributed. And it's like, no, I'm sorry, that's not okay. It was earned at one point. You can't do that.
right,
This whole and
it
then
gives that the ability to your kids to maintain that. You know what I'm saying? It gives them a little bit of it, somewhat an advantage instead of having to struggle from the ground up. So if you're able to achieve that,
good for
why
you.
not?
No,
Yeah,
100%. Good for you. No, and that's how it should be. And you have people like, oh, Kamala is not a socialist. She's not a socialist. I'm sorry. If you quack like a duck, look like a duck, sound like a duck, you're a duck. That's all that's
yeah.
to it. Like, it. She says socialistic things. She has socialistic ideas. She's a socialist. I'm sorry. That's flat. That's all she is. And I know people will argue it till they're blue in the face, and no pun intended there. It's kind of funny though. Now that I think about it, because
Right.
they've stuck themselves to a party, and that party defines them now, no matter what that party does, and that's the problem. You know what I mean? They forgot what it truly means to be an American. That you're supposed to define your party, not. And like you said, the Republicans have done a really good job of doing that. They've done a good job of listening to the people and understanding what they want.
But
And
you gotta uphold them to that too.
oh,
Just like in
100%. Yeah, no. And I've come around to kind of seeing how Trump may have not been the president I wanted, but he's definitely, I think, the president we need.
yeah,
And if my biggest fear right now is true and Kamala does win, I'll accept it. I'm not going to sit there and, say all this crap. And like, yeah, if there's true evidence of her stealing it, yeah, there should be repercussions. But I'm also a true believer. And in the Bible, it says, God appoints our government because it's what we need at that time. And I don't know, man. With the ideals that the woke have instilled in us, it's almost like, hey, it's this country is crumbling from the inside, and most people don't realize it because they look at the fake statistics they put out with misleading data or with misdriven data. And
they want American style communism is what it is.
dude, that's a good way to put it. Honestly, when you said that earlier, I was like, I like that, and it's the truth. It really is, and it's scary, man, because that you've probably heard about it. 'Cause I know a lot of people have. And I seen it from this dude on Snapchat, Unrevealed. I love those little shorts. I don't watch a lot of stuff, but that dude Unrevealed is you're awesome, man. um, he talked about how there's this guy that has predicted every president that has won, and he's predicting Kamala to win. And the only one he technically got wrong was Al Gore, but Al Gore won the popular vote and lost the
Yep.
whatever you call
But
it.
the president not chosen
Yeah, I know,
under.
I know. But what I'm saying is like that was the only one he got wrong, and like I understand why that all happened. I don't want to. Bush was a dumbass.
When you
Have you ever listened to his bloopers?
when you look at Bush and the policies he had, and then when you look at the Patriot Act and the war, in my opinion, if you were to take that and fast forward that now and look at everything else, Bush was a rhino.
Well, dude,
He's
the
a fucking.
Bush.
He wasn't a Republican. He was a fucking Democrat. When you look at it, I mean, you look at it. A lot of the Democrats that are in office now, that were in office back then, Hillary included, they all went along with the war. A lot of us did. Everybody did. But then you look at it over the years, you see all this shit behind closed doors start to seep out, we should never have been in Iraq in the way that we were. That should never have happened. And in all honesty, Afghanistan probably shouldn't have happened either in the way it did.
I mean,
Because when you look at it,
you can go
um,
back to his father's time and say that as well
yeah,
in Desert Storm.
yeah. When
So
you look at it, uh, a lot of people will probably say, "Oh, you're an ass and this and that shit." And I've heard this from a number of Iraqis that I worked with while I was in Iraq. A lot of them did say, "Yeah, Saddam did a lot of crazy shit," but at the same time, he held the country together. He kept certain things in check. He kept other wackos in check too. Not to mention, you know, Uncle Sam was giving him also money and weapons to keep Iran in check, and
we're
so basically kicked him out of the house, so to speak. You base open the front door for Iran then to go meddle into Iraqi politics, and this is part of the situation what you got now.
no, and you are 100% right. Uh, the wars were wrong for the people; they were right for the Bush family. The destabilization of that region, they thought it would benefit them way more than it did, and it did for a little bit, but then it turned on them, like it continues to. If you, we're paying what 20 million, 40 million, I think a month to the Taliban, which 20 million of that goes to the Al Qaeda.
Yeah,
And there was a whole breakdown of this on the Sean Ryan show by a lady who I guess tracks this and was I believe a former CIA analyst.
there's a guy he interviewed, an Afghan, about the same kind of shit. If I find it, I'll send it to you.
Yeah,
Because
I like
I
Sean
start
Ryan. He's a good one.
I start listening to shows a lot more on the podcast, like when I'm at work
Yeah,
and stuff like that. But I'll find it. I'll send it to you because it has a lot of the same
yeah,
things
no,
you just.
it's messed up, and we continually do it. We continually do it the same way Israel was paying off Hezbollah, or not Hezbollah, Hamas, sorry, and it turned on them. I mean,
Yeah,
it's it's one of the craziest things when you truly think about it. It's wait, we have things over here that need to get done, but we're giving 20 million to our enemy, 40 million to
yeah.
our enemy.
The people who hate you, and then when they turn on you or shit doesn't go right, you're gonna sit there. What happened? Well, I mean, someone's gonna give you money, you're gonna take it, but that doesn't mean you're gonna like them.
No, you can't.
You know what
You
I
can't
I
buy
mean?
friendship, man. And
So
it's
yeah,
like,
take the money with shit on them later.
well, there was a guy that talked about uh there was a it was a general or someone high ranking, but it's called like terrorist math or some there's probably a better word than terrorist, but when you kill one, you create nine because
Oh yeah,
his brother,
gonna take.
his cousin, his uncle, his father, his son all become because you then made yourself an enemy of them because who wouldn't be upset. Any normal person is going to be upset with someone that kills their child or murders their child, especially
You're not.
when you're an innocent civilian. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
but at the same time, you're not gonna win them over by hugs and kisses either.
oh no, I don't think that. But I think there's also
You're
there's
caught in that situation, and you can't. And how are you gonna destroy or fight an idea?
no,
That's the
you
thing.
can't. And but that again, it comes to us creating our own problem with the destabilization of that region. You know what I mean? We destabilized South America to where we were able to input people who followed us. We thought we could do the same thing with Saddam. We destabilized the region. We put Saddam in power, and then all of a sudden we didn't like what he was doing because he was then becoming a hard player on probably on oil prices and stuff like that. And that gets me over to the Bush tyranny. I mean, it started with Prescott. It probably started before him with his father. I just don't know who the hell he is. And Prescott Bush was found guilty of helping fund the Nazi regime and then was made the director of the CIA afterwards. And then you see continuously things sprawl out from that. Nixon, which I don't know. I've heard some conflicting things that said he was actually a good guy, but he was
He took
plucked. He was plucked from bagging groceries by Prescott Bush. He found him in a
But
grocery store bagging groceries.
But I think Nixon was the one that took us off the gold standard.
Was he?
Yeah, if I remember right. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was him. I mean, like I said, I'm not an economist.
I'm not either, but from what I knew about history, Nixon was a shitty president and he was an idiot. But I don't know though. I've heard some conflicting stories, but then again, people always have a motive when they're writing a book. You know what I mean? But
you're gonna you're gonna have people that people like and people hate. So you're not gonna win either way on that end.
Yeah, you got to find the information. You know what I mean to kind of make an educated guess on it. And to me, my educated guess is that he was a pawn of the Bush family, because why else would Prescott have picked him from bagging groceries? You know what I mean? Like, that's not a person you would think would elevate themselves to the level of presidency. And there's nothing wrong with bagging groceries. I'm not getting down on that. But the fact of the matter is things were, he found someone that he felt was vulnerable and manipulable, I think, and that he could use. Because if you look at the money, where a lot of the money came from, it was all backed by him. And so there's a motive there. And to see the things he got away with, and still was able to retain his power, there's something there. You know what I mean? There's something wrong with that picture. And
like baby oil involved.
say it again.
I said there's probably some baby oil involved too, right?
Oh, Pete Diddy style, man. Fucking whole room full of that shit. Why do you need that much baby oil? What the fuck are you doing? Like, bro, you had more baby oil than you did weight of people in that house, homeboy. He had trap doors and that shit in there. Like, do you hear about the tunnels they found in that shit? They found tunnels.
How true those are, but I heard about them.
Dude, oh man. You heard Usher talk about them about Diddy Camp. Like,
you know, the funny thing is too, looking back at it, I remember watching the show when he was looking for new talent.
Oh, making the band?
Yeah, I remember I watched it on TV.
I'm closing the studio.
And the crazy shit they had people go looking for, it's like,
you remember the Chappelle show too? Remember, he's like,
oh yeah,
I need breast milk. I need fresh breast milk from a Cambodian woman.
Yeah, right. I mean, all kinds of shit they had him go look for. And I'm sitting thinking to myself, I'm like, what in the fuck does that got to do with fucking producing and putting something together? I mean, I understand your so-called try to build teamwork and structure on the board.
Seeing who he can manipulate.
Right. Well, yeah. Looking back at it now, yeah, we all know that. But it's like, is this some of the weird shit? You know, I mean, like you said, you look back at it, you get it now.
You see the
but back then, you weren't able to see it because you weren't noticing this shit. Now that everybody's laying it all on the table for you, you're like, oh my god,
how do we miss this? Yeah,
think through, like I said, throughout history and politics and shit. I mean, it's like the rabbit holes on this shit are endless. You could sit here all fucking night and talk about it, and you haven't even scratched the surface. And just imagine the shit that goes on that you don't even know about.
That they have never released. What I always compare it to is, they declassify files, but there's a lot of black. There's a lot of marked out shit.
Too is when they they'll really classify documents, but it's redacted, it's all blacked out. Yeah. It's like, why not? Like, what's the whole point of releasing it then?
It has 3 sentences on it. It's 4 pages. It's like, what the fuck? Yeah. What's so bad that you're hiding still?
Well, yeah. What's the point of even saying, "Oh, we released the document"? What's the point if all of it's blacked out, marked up, you can't see it? What's the point? Honestly, what's the point? You should just never release the document in the first place. Like,
did you hear what Trump said about the JFK files on the Joe Rogan show?
No, I started watching part of that. I didn't get to finish watching that. Yesterday we were watching. I got through most of the JD Vance one.
That was good. I like him.
Yeah, he seems pretty cool because the way he was talking and how he's acting, he just seemed like just a regular motherfucker, man.
Oh yeah, dude, he's funny. Like when he's definitely funny. I like him. He's well put together, but he seems like you said, he seems like an average guy. Like, it was funny when he brought up Hunter Biden at this one point. He's like, He's like, yeah, him doing cocaine and partying. He's like, yeah, the fun stuff. He's like, you can say that I'm running for president. I'm running for vice president. It was
Yeah,
so
yeah.
fun.
He's
I was like,
comment on
okay.
that one.
And
Yeah.
so, but yeah, he said he's gonna release. He said he's like, yeah, I'll release him. And Trump says some shit sometimes, like Joe Rogan said. He says some wild shit. I don't think he'll release the files. I personally don't think he will.
I think he's the type of person who would want to,
Yeah.
and if he gave him the ability, he would. But unfortunately, there's people in the government that, like I said, even if he gets in, they're going to sabotage him any way they can.
Oh yeah.
They're going to throw up roadblocks any way they can. I see the Democrats antagonizing and inciting people to do civil unrest shit in the streets in some areas. I see them pushing that. And it's funny how they did. I mean, look, on Comedy Central, they did a roast for him. Everybody loved him. I got 10% on my phone, so it's gonna die soon.
Okay.
But I'll get to. But everybody loved him before he ran for president. He got taken pictures with all kinds of black celebrities, Jesse Jackson, even fucking Don King's ass. I mean, he got pictures of all kinds of motherfuckers. He took pictures of people smiling, putting their arm around him. And then the minute this guy runs for president and then wins, oh my God, he's an evil. He's Hitler. He's the biggest racist in the world. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. That's bullshit, dude. Because if he was that bad before, that shit would have came out years ago. Years ago.
100%. No, you're right. And everyone makes mistakes throughout their life to begin with.
Yeah, who
And
doesn't? But
the dude, I still don't like how he kind of made our country look like a circus. It still rubs me the wrong way. But I'm starting to see the good in him.
I don't think he made a circus. I don't think that was necessarily him. It was the way he was betrayed and the way people did to sabotage shit.
That's a good point. That's a valid point. I haven't thought about it from that perspective.
That's just me, because you think about it, I can sit there and say and do some shit, and if you're going to portray it and put it in a different way, it's very easy to manipulate.
Dude,
my
yeah.
intentions, my intentions could have been to hey, help this guy fix this and that, but then when it doesn't go right and people are sabotaging me behind my back, it's going to make me look fucked up in some ways.
Well, even beyond that, even beyond someone sabotaging them, sometimes when you do something, let's say with a child, a child interprets everything a parent does as, oh, they just want to take away my fun. Oh, they just want to stop me. Oh, they're just being mean. When in reality, we're like, hey, dude, we're just trying to help you. Like, we've been through this shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
right.
so and with me, my intentions get misinterpreted a lot because I'm a very blunt person, and like I just kind of say what's on my mind. Like it's
no. And like you said, we make mistakes, so maybe we should kind of word it a certain way at times.
100%.
Even though you're saying point across, but you approach, instead of coming left, you go right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I get what you're saying. And I think, but it's like, Rogan even said about Trump too. He's the kind of person, is what you see is what you get. Whether you like it or not, you're dealing with that person. You're not dealing with some guy who's sitting there saying this and that behind closed doors. He's totally fucking different. Exact opposite of what you just saw. Yeah. So, like you said, at least you know what you're getting.
And that's also a good point too, because I trust him, and like that says a lot, because like I don't trust RFK 100% anymore, because he did some things in an interview. He started acting really squirrely. He started, and maybe it's just maybe I'm misinterpreting that, but
he's a Kennedy.
Well, I knew from that interview, I'm like, something's off. There's something that I can't see that's going. And you have someone that literally, I mean, I think he's known he was going to go over to the Trump side for some time. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing at all. I'm not saying it's a bad thing in one bit. But I saw that he wasn't invested in his race at that point because of the way he answered his question. And
Democrats were sabotaging him, and he knew he didn't allow to push it through. So, like you said, I think he knew behind closed doors and thinking to himself, he knew in the end what he was going to have to do.
Well, I think he knew way earlier on, and I think even if he ran as a Democrat, I think if he did manage to get himself to the primary, win the primary, and get to that point, I still think I unfortunately still think his plan was to give it to Trump. I think he knew from the get go. I think this was something that was embedded, and that's what made me not trust him. But I could be 1,000% wrong, and I
Yeah.
probably am, and I hope I am.
He was more
But
willing to work. I think this, in my opinion.
yeah, no, and you know he's done a lot of great things, and I don't want to discredit that at all. There was just something that made me uneasy, and I feel I'm a pretty good judge of person when it comes down to it. But I do get what you mean by that, because I do trust Trump, at least as much as you can trust someone who wants to be the president. You know what I mean?
Right. No.
That's a power seeking move, and so there's definitely some regard to hold there. But that's every person that does it, not just him. And so there's that type of person you're going to get in that type of race, and I'm starting to see how, like I said, it's not the president I wanted, but it's the president we need, and I'm starting to see this. He's the president I want. We have two options, and one's a socialist, and one wants America to be strong, wants America to be America. He's a patriot, and I can feel that in him, and I know I can align with that because I feel I'm a patriot. I feel that I would live, I would die, and I would do what I needed to protect this country if it came down to it. And people can discount that however they want it, but I know what's in my heart, and I know that's part of it. There's a lot of things I disagree on with the guy on, and but I can. It's weird because I think it's almost like his bluntness rubs me the wrong way, because I think I don't like my bluntness because it gets me in so much trouble. You know what I mean? But in the end, he kind of has to be like that. It's like you said. Well, maybe not, I don't know if you said it, but maybe I'm mixing my episodes up before, but you can't have someone weak-minded trying to speak with other powers, like especially Vladimir Putin, who was fucking killing people for the KGB. Like, you can't have Kamala Harris trying to sit down and have a conversation with that dude. Like,
they're like, yeah, you got to get straight to the point.
Yeah,
you got to get straight. So if there's something that has to be said, or negotiated or dealt with, you don't sugarcoat it. You just come out. Hey, this is what the fuck's going on. This is what we want. This is what you want, and get past the bullshit. Because in that way, you can't miscommunicate any intentions. Or, well, I thought you meant this. No.
Well, cultural differences too. There's nuances with cultural differences, and someone that can't even lock in on our cultural differences and understand our cultural infrastructure, how are you going to understand other countries? How are you going to speak in a way to where that gets interpreted well? But in the end, I think I pray to God that Donald Trump wins, because but in the end he has his plan. But I don't know. I haven't been scared this whole time because I've stuck my head out of it a lot, because I do trust in God more. But the closer we get to it, my anxiety does rise more, because I'm just in fear that we have such a deep mind virus in this country that it has turned it. And I'm going to send you the video of Yuri Bezmenov, or whatever it is, some Russian name. He was a former KGB agent that talks about the infiltration of our colleges. And I'm pretty sure we're living that out. Yeah. We're living that out right now. And this is part of the final steps of it, is a socialist president like Kamala Harris. And I don't even know anything about her VP at all, but I know I like Donald Trump, and I really like JD Vance. And the people.
What is it about her VP? She didn't do shit.
From what I'm pretty sure he's one of the people that implemented allowing males into female bathrooms, and I don't care.
Oh yeah,
unless you've went through a full sex change, don't go in a woman's bathroom. I'm sorry. If you still, I don't care what you identify as.
Military record is under question too.
Oh really?
Yeah, because supposedly when they were getting ready to deploy, that's when he decided to go ahead and retire and get out of the military and go into politics. I think unless I'm getting confused with somebody else, I think he took a number of trips to China as well, I think, in the past.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to bank on, though. I mean, people travel. You know what I mean? People travel for business, too.
If you're in government and you're going to a country with that kind of question marks, especially with how everything is in general, I mean, for one, why would you even go there on vacation? You're a U.S. politician, and everybody knows how kind of shit is in a way. And then two, if you're going over there, you better be there on official fucking business.
I mean, I don't. That's a hard one for me to get behind, just because.
It's a communist country. That's the thing. You ain't going to fucking France. You ain't going to Germany. You ain't going to Ireland.
Yeah,
And sure, ain't going to fucking England.
they got some
So you're
cool
going
shit in China though. They got
what?
they have pyramids in China. They've done a really good job of like suppressing them, but there's photos out there like where there's. I mean, I doubt he's going to these areas, but this is me just kind of being a devil's advocate in this situation. There's a lot of cool shit in China that they do a really good job of like suppressing, because I think it just has to go in line with them just keeping their secrecy of their. I mean, they still technically said they haven't gotten to their first emperor's tomb because of the mercury detection in it, and so there's a lot of shit there that I think is actually pretty freaking cool. There's this guy who takes a lot of photos that's been used by like National Geographic and all these other like big name places over the years, and he's actually gotten some cool ass drone footage and drone pictures of like what these things are, and they look like fucking pyramids, dude. Like they're literally, it looks like what Bosnia looks like, or it looks like what some of the pyramids in Mexico and some of the pyramids in the Amazon, maybe not Amazon, sorry.
Well, they think there's shit in the Amazon too, like small ruins of cities under the jungle.
100% is. You can see the outlines of it all over the place. I mean, the Amazon, I'm pretty sure, probably housed what the Sahara rainforest used to house. You know what I mean? I think it just shifted, and that's climate shift, not climate change. Climate change isn't.
Well, the world goes through
climate shift
cycle changes on its own. I mean, scientists have found evidence of that.
Oh yeah, it's all, there's geological proof of that for sure. But I know your phone's dying. I want to play something really quick of why I started to love Donald Trump. Because this dude is, honestly, I could watch him all day because he's just doing bits. Freaking. This one is a good one though.
All right. For some reason, if my phone cuts out, you know what?
Yeah. Can you hear it? Hold on. Oh, that right there is so good.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Boom! Like, dude, that's just straight up mic drop moment right there. Like, that is one of my favorite Donald Trump lines. Because you'd be in jail. Like, just real quick, too. Just off the cuff. Like.
But the thing is, though, at the same time, that's the one thing, I guess one of the one things I didn't agree with Trump on is that everybody knew what fucking Hillary did. Everybody knows what the fuck she did. And yet he did not go.
Her?
Yeah, he did not go after her because, in my opinion, he had legitimate reasons to do so. But then he said, oh, that would be bad for the country. That's why he didn't went after her. Yeah, you go ahead and you let her skate and the rest of them, the other one skate. And then you want to sit there and wonder why they're coming after you the way they came after you during your presidency. Now you look what the fuck's going on now. They try to take him out. I know they're behind that shit.
Oh,
and not
dude.
to mention,
yeah.
There's like what 2 other attempts they talk about.
I know.
You don't think that's
one in total? There's 2 in total, I believe.
Yeah, I heard
there was like there was like hit squads supposedly after him too, like 6 hit squads.
Yeah.
And there was a record of that.
Yeah.
I haven't looked into that one, but yeah, there was 2 assassination attempts on his life, and the one the kid had cell phone tracking, or had his cell phone tracked, and it showed him near Langley. You know what I mean? By the FBI headquarters, which also CIA as well. But you know, and they've done it before, and like with the JFK files, I've rewatched the Zapruder film like 2-3 months ago, like really, really closely. And one thing no one ever talks about is because his wife went to the back of the car to grab his brains. I don't believe that anymore. And sorry, I shouldn't say I don't believe that. I don't see that as feasible anymore. If you look, he turns and looks at her, and then his head goes back.
Oh, yeah.
What if she shot him and then was tossing the gun off the trunk to the Secret Service agent?
I don't know.
He was fucking around with Marilyn Monroe. He was a ladies' man. He was slaying it. Not to speak like an asshole, but that's the truth.
Oh yeah, no,
And
everybody's
everybody knew it. Everybody knew it at that time, and she had to live with that. Who closer
Yeah,
to
I
him
think-
would the CIA recruit to help? Watch the Zabruder film. I'm telling you, just watch it and tell me what you think after hearing that, because I've a couple people have had watched like, dude, it
Well,
kind
I
of
know-
looks like it, man.
I know JFK's dad paid her money to keep quiet about everything, so she did get money. She knew about all that shit. Everybody knew about it.
Yeah.
But part about her shooting him, I think you would have seen that as clear as day, though, on the cameras. It's kind of hard to sit there and have certain angles like that, and to
Think about the era, though, man. That was when they just started investigating how I'm just gonna say this term because it doesn't. I know it's not the exact right term to say. Military industrial complex. Pretty much, weapons manufacturers had made that disintegratable dart that they would cause heart attacks. That's actually truth. It was conspiracy at once. There was a congressional meeting on it, and they made it. And so this was a time of like that espionage, like equipable James Bond type shit. You know what I mean?
I definitely think the CIA was part of it. Maybe.
Oh yeah.
Even argue the FBI possibly.
Yeah, this is tinfoil. This is tinfoil hat shit for sure. But it's just like I'm looking at it from. I like to look at things from angles that nobody else has looked at and try and see if I could piece it together in my head. And this one fits. It's one of these ones that I'm like, okay, I could post myself on this until someone else can push me off of it.
I don't know about the Jackie one. That one.
I know it's a hard one to get behind, but watch the Zabruder film and then let me know what you think, because the movements, they match in my head, and there's a way to disguise to make guns at that point didn't give off that much to where you would see it. You know what I mean? In a low resolution film. What?
It's called the Zabruder film. You said?
I believe I might be pronouncing it wrong, but it's close enough. You'll get to it if you just sound that out. Just start with the Z and put JFK film. It'll come up.
All right, I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, do. And then it doesn't bother me that you don't agree with me, because I mean it's a far fetched thing, but it's an angle that I don't think anyone's ever approached it from. And we obviously know the CIA fucking did it. We obviously know that Trump said there's people still alive that were involved in it. So it's like, it could have hurt those people. So there's something there, but. Yeah, I don't know, man. This election's gonna scare this thing's gonna scare me. I think we should do our last hour next week and talk about it a little bit more, because I think it's gonna be a little crazy. I don't think we're gonna know by the end of the 5th. I think there's gonna be a played out bullshit like last time. Oh, we gotta do recounts. Oh, we gotta do this, and there's gonna be some.
Kamala is president.
I pray to God. I really do. I pray to God she's not. And I think anyone who has a head on their shoulders, who doesn't want to live at a poverty level while our government lives at a way better one, and truly understands what socialism is, look up Marxism, look up China, look up what happened in Russia, look what's going on with North Korea right now. It's all a result of communism.
The last election was fixed.
Socialism.
And if she wins, that should tell you everything right there.
It's hard, though. It's hard with popular vote and whatever you call it, an electoral college. It really is, because they've pumped a shitload of people that they're trying to say can vote, that they're going to force to allow to vote. They're even saying to where they can swing them.
They're even saying they're going to let illegals vote. People who just got here 2 weeks ago. Oh, we're going to let you vote.
Fuck
when you put
you.
You didn't pay nothing into the system. You're not a citizen. You don't even speak the language. And you're going to go and fucking vote. Get the fuck out. So basically,
dude, they wild west or wild country that shit. They bought themselves votes.
And then more or less, your citizenship is worthless. It's meaningless. Don't mean shit.
Well, they're not going to get it yet. Yeah. Oh, for us. Oh, yeah. No, it really is at that point. It's like they're not only depleting our resources to help what we need to help American citizens, they're then demeaning the value of what it means to be an American citizen. Because if anyone can walk in and be one, then what does it mean to be one if you can't contribute to it, if you're not living here, if you're not being a productive member of society? And
Yeah.
we damn well know that there's countries pulling Cuba on us right now, emptying their prisons on us again.
Countries are. A lot of countries are.
Yeah, like, and it's insanity, man. It's insanity. Like my dad came over here. Whatever. I understand that I'm that close to it, but in the end, when people were coming over back then, their goal was to assimilate.
Right.
And I'm not saying it's wrong to hold on to your culture at all. I'm not saying that at all.
No. There's nothing wrong with holding on to traditions from home. Still speaking the same language, your friends or family members and shit like that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But the one thing, like my dad used to tell me that my grandfather used to tell him when he was a kid, is when you went to work and where you went to school or whatever you did business, that's the language you spoke there. That's what you did there. When you're at home or whatever else, then you spoke Spanish or whatever. But when you went to work and you went to school and you conducted business and wherever you're at, you spoke the language there. You spoke English.
I like that. That's a good way to put it.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
It's just that easy. Because if you want services or you want to be able to do shit to get through, you got to speak the language there. Just like if my fat ass took a job in fucking Japan in the middle of fucking Tokyo, well, you know what? My fucking fat ass better start brushing up on my fucking Japanese and my Yakamoro shit if I'm going to sit and get by. Or else, otherwise, how am I going to communicate? I got to go to the hospital to get something. I got to go to a doctor, getting a fucking hamburger or whatever, just little bullshit like that. How am I going to communicate? Then people are going to look at you like, what the fuck are you doing here? You're not even trying to adapt.
And that's really what it is. It's about adapting. It's about being able to blend the culture, and, America really doesn't we have our culture, but I think what makes us rich is the diversity and the bringing together of all of our cultures, because I think that is how you make the best society, an exception of other individuals. And I think wiping away the borders to do that, I think it helps us, but there's a right way and there's a wrong way. And I think the wrong way is a symptom of the fact that our immigration system is jagged. I mean,
you're letting anybody walk, and no matter what.
Well, I'm talking about the legal way, because you have
left is taking what you just said and twisting it around and distorting it.
Yeah. And what it is we just need to reform it to where, hey, if you want to come here and you can be a productive member of society, yeah, you can come here. But we need to know who you are, where you're from. If you don't have papers, F off. I'm sorry. No.
Yeah.
Paperless people aren't welcome. We need to know who you were. First off, criminals don't deserve my tax money. No. At least criminals not from this country. Whatever. Our taxes pay to house criminals. I understand that, which that's a whole nother rabbit hole if you look at privatized prisons. But
yeah.
Anyways, I don't want to pay for another criminal to come here and get pumped into my system. Like, what the hell? You know what I mean? Like, we don't have money for all these things that we built to help us, that are socialistic ideas, people, that are failing. Big one that everyone should really be upset about, that was the biggest topic before COVID, Social Security. We're all paying into it. Most of us will never get it if it continues on the way it is. It's the first thing to be grabbed from that. And then look at welfare. Hey, how well do those two socialistic ideas do, everybody? They seem to be failing at this moment. So you want to push in more socialistic ideas that are going to fail as well? What happens when everything you pump our money into fails? We fail, people. Look at what's going on. Socialistic ideas work in an extent. Policing, teaching, protection, as in fire protection and police protection. I guess I said police twice, but whatever. Those work. We need those. But we've seen us try to add more and more and more. And I'm not saying we should let welfare or Social Security fail. We need to fix them. It's fixable. But I just sounded like Donald. We got a big problem. The dude is so fucking funny, man.
You know what you do on the 5th? You should get your hair cut, Donald hair, and then just come out there for election night like that. Dude.
Yeah, and I get myself shot. I'm good. We got him. He's in Illinois.
Hey, get yourself a nice everything, man. You feel upset, man.
Yeah, I need a fucking flat jacket and a bulletproof face mask, dude, looking like a Venezuelan spec ops guy. Like, come on.
You'll be in your place. You'll be all right. You'll be all right.
Yeah.
All
In a
right.
democratic state. Yeah. Be in the polling place. This
Hey,
is the red line, guys. Come over here.
Your brother standing behind you wearing the sunglasses and like the earpiece and shit.
Oh, that'd be hilarious. That'd be too funny. Oh man. But yeah, no.
That'd be a good one.
I'm going. I'll be at the polling booth putting in my Trump vote, and I'm happy to say it. I never thought I would say that. Rewind 4 years ago, I wanted Hillary to win. I mean,
oh god, man, I didn't
did,
even vote.
I was an idiot. I mean,
when Hillary and Trump ran, I didn't vote that one because at the time, I'm like, this is the best that we have to offer. I wasn't going to vote for the game show host, and I wasn't going to vote for the bitch that had major question marks behind her and her credibility. So I sat that one out. But then over the 4 years when he ran, I was like, you know what? I was like, he didn't do too bad of a job. I was like, he did a lot better than I thought he would. And then I voted for him the last time, and of course that shit got rigged. So I voted for him again. But I don't know. At the same time, I got a bad feeling that
your phone's about to die. I can tell you that.
Yeah, but I got a bad feeling away. This one, they might try to pull some shit.
Oh, they're going to, dude. They're going to, and that's what's rocking me. But no, I was honestly in the same boat as you. As I felt like I didn't have a side to choose, and I was almost going to do that this time and just say fuck it. It's not going to matter. But in the end, if I think about it from a religious perspective, so I'll say that one, then I'll say the other one, and we can wrap this up. But Aaron and Moses, Aaron was a stander by in what was happening, and he did nothing, and God punished him in the same way he punished Moses because he did nothing. It's the same when you think about it as walking by in the street. You see someone getting a woman being, taken advantage of, robbed. You don't do anything. It's almost, obviously you don't want to get shot. You don't want to pull out a gun and shoot the guy. You're not a fucking superhero. You're not the police. But intervention, in my eyes, if you don't, you're almost just as bad as the person. You know what I mean? Oh, I lost him. It died. All right, folks. Have a great night. Thank you for joining us for another episode of The Sound of Sosa. I hope to see you guys here next week, and I hope everyone makes the right choice for this country. He wasn't my first pick, but unfortunately, sometimes you have to choose who will create less evil, who will lessen evil. And so I hope we can see past the socialistic ideas that we think sound great on paper, but have never yet to date been executed correctly, and they won't be by this. Take care. Have a great night.